Hi everyone, I'm Sakshi and I welcome you to the B.Ed notes presented by Train the Teacher. Today we are going to get started with the Unit 1 of Pedagogy of English, where you will be served with all these notes, the short and easiest notes that I've prepared for you to help you understand these concepts in the easiest possible ways. So let's get started. Alright, so everybody, in this unit, an overview of language teaching. ये लोग सिर्फ 3 चीज़ें हमें बता रहे हैं जो कि you'll even find many things repeated in this whole unit. The 3 things are language क्या है, what is language, what is language, language क्या होती है. Again, 3 Idiots movie में जैसे हमने देखा है machine क्या है, हमें पता है machine क्या है, but again for an exam sake we have to come up with a definition. So language क्या है, language की importance क्या है, language की importance पे specifically वो बात करेंगे English language की importance क्या है, और second language हम कैसे सीख सकते हैं, या English as a second language कोई भी learner कैसे अच्छे से सीख सकता है और एक टीचर कैसे अच्छे से सिखा सकता है. So this is what is there in this unit. Okay everyone, we'll straight away get started with the first thing, which is meaning of language. Okay, now again this question has been university's favorite questions, which is meaning of language, and here I would strongly request you to come up with one of your favorite critics definition. Here I have chosen Noam Chomsky. I often read him, so I am quite convinced with his theories and all the ideologies that he believes in. So according to Mr. Noam Chomsky, language is a creative and generative system that allows humans to produce and comprehend an infinite number of meaningful sentences. ये है language और कुछ नहीं है. Okay, Oxford Dictionary के हिसाब से it defines it as words and the methods of combining the words and the methods for the expressions of thoughts. That's what it is. So these are the 2 chosen definitions from my side. You also be ready with the ones that you feel convinced with. Okay, with this we'll straight away move to the next point, which talks about importance of a language, and specifically importance of English language. Here are 10 points. I'll quickly walk you through these 10 points. English is a linked language, global linked language. Okay, English helps us land into better job opportunities, which in turn helps us to have better financial and economical conditions. Cultural exchange, obviously, आप इंग्लिश नहीं बोलते हो, मैं इंग्लिश आप इंग्लिश बोलते हो, मैं भी इंग्लिश बोलती हूँ, बट वो हमारी नेटिव लैंग्वेज नहीं है. आप मद्रास के हो मान लो, मैं दिल्ली की हूँ मान लो, तो हमारी नेटिव टंग अलग है. बट अगेन because English becomes the link language, that's how there is culture exchange that takes place, and that's how we get to know about each other and each other's culture and many other things. एक्सेस टू इन्फॉर्मेशन, अभी आप अगर इंटरनेट पे जाओ, बुक्स पे जाओ, जो हमारी कॉमन लैंग्वेज है रिसर्च थियोरी स्टडीज़ की, वो इंग्लिश है. सो इट्स अबाउट दैट. ट्रैवल एंड टूरिज्म, ओके, अगेन if you know English, then it becomes easy for you to travel, to communicate and to navigate through the way. Okay, entertainment and media, obviously most if again proficiency in English allows you or will allow you to enjoy TVs, movies, Netflix and Amazon Prime these days are just massively popular among youth and among everybody, right? And most of the, again, one common language you'll find if you go and if you click on audio, you'll always find English option there in all, whether you find Hindi or not, whether you find Gujarati or not, but English will always be there. So if you know English, you'll have greater chance to enjoy all these movie shows and everything else. Personal development, obviously, if you know English, you'll have access to better media, better of best of everything, and that's how you'll develop, personally. Again, books also, most of these books are written in English, so that's how you'll develop personally, on personal level. English in trade, industry and commerce, that's also understood, because it's an administrative language also, in as it's written here in High Court, Supreme Court and everywhere else. Again, English is the used one. Trade, industry, commerce, wherever you go, from high corporate deals to taking receipts from the shop, everything is in English. So again, knowing English becomes important. And English in our social lives, obviously social gathering से लेके social media, सब कुछ, हर चीज़ की primary language English है. So that's how English is important, and these 10 points make it, let us see the importance of English. Okay, everybody, with this we'll move forward to our next element, which is functions of language. Now, functions of language means कि language किस लिए use हो रही है. Obviously language बोलचाल के लिए use होती है, but in communication, how is language being used? Now there are 3 simple ways. It's really simple. One is to express, other is to inform, and the third is to direct. Okay. Expressive function. In expressive function, it allows individuals to express their emotions, feelings, opinions and experiences. For an example, to apologize, to compliment, to vent, to greet and to express gratitude. For an example, I love you. This is an expression, right? You are expressing yourself. The next one is informative. It allows individuals to share facts, theories, information and description. Again, information majorly, right? And information can be of various types, like definitions, descriptions, narrations, explanations, presentations, etc. Now, the capital of France is Paris. This is an information. So अगर मैं किसी को जाके बोल रही हूँ, the capital of France is Paris, so I am communicating, but कौन सा function है? It is an informative function. The last one is directive, which allows individuals to give instructions, commands or requests and directions. Okay, again it is used for requests, suggestions, commands, advice, invitation, etc. Please close the door. Communicate कर रही हूँ, but function है directive. Okay, direction देना. So it's like that, and it's very easy. Functions of language. Right after functions of language, we have assumptions of language. Assumption का मतलब होता है मान्यताएं, the basis on which it is built. So language, first, इसमें I think I've mentioned 7 points here. So the first assumption of language is that language assumes that communication is a social activity. Okay, it's a social interaction, and it is used to connect with others. So social interaction hai. Language assumes that communication is a social interaction. Next, non-verbal cues or non-verbal communication plays a vital role in language. The third one is shared understanding. Language assumes that people can understand each other and they can agree on the meaning of the common words, phrases and symbols. Right after it, symbolic representation. Language assumes that words and symbols represents things and ideas, right? Again, alphabet हो गया, symbols हो गए. कौन से symbols है? Hashtag symbol होता है, dot which is a period, comma. So symbols like these. Cultural influence, absolutely. Language assumes that culture affects how we use and understand language. A word in one language can have some other meaning in other language, right? So we must understand, or we must keep the cultural influence in our mind. The next is context matters. Obviously, language assumes the meaning of words can change based on situation and context. Again, I think both of them are very much connected, and rules exist. Language assumes that there are rules that govern or that lets us speak a particular language, grammar, pronunciation rules, sentence construction के rules. So ये हैं मान्यताएं language की. I hope everybody is clear. Functions of language and assumption of language. With this, we'll move forward to the next part, which is linguistic characteristics and linguistic principles. ये भी बहुत easy. You just have to understand the meaning of linguistic characteristics and principle. Linguistic language, characteristics मतलब qualities that are present in language. तो as a whole इसका मतलब यही है कि qualities जो कि language में present है. Principles everybody, इनका मतलब हुआ rules that govern the use of language, structure, context, वो सारी चीज़ें. Qualities and language rules. लिंग्विस्टिक कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स में है फर्स्ट कैरेक्टरिस्टिक है कि लैंग्वेज डेवलप्स ऑल द फोर स्किल्स: रीडिंग, राइटिंग, लिसनिंग एंड स्पीकिंग. इट यूजेस नॉन वर्बल लैंग्वेज. ओके, टोन मैटर्स, accent matters, your expressions matter, right? If I'm saying give me the food, it's normal. But if I'm saying give me the food, now I'm being rude, or it shows that I just can't wait. So again, these non-verbal cues, tone, accent, intonation, emphasis, expressions, all these things come under non-verbal language. So ये उसकी characteristic है language की. Obviously language has its roots in spoken form. If we go back to 800 BC or before the Anglo-Saxon war and everything else, language was not written at that point of time. There are barely any evidence of language. There are barely any works, right? एक दो वर्क्स के अलावा कोई वर्क्स नहीं है इंग्लिश की, लिटरेरी वर्क आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट. तो मेजरली स्पोकन से ही शुरू हुई, एंड देन लिटरेरी टेक्स्ट्स केम in form afterwards. So language has its roots in spoken form. Obviously language is a means of communication. It is a mode to communicate. It is a system of phonetics. Obviously language is based on syntax, vocabulary, pronunciation, and the phonetic symbols and everything else. So it is a system of phonetics. It is a structured system. Obviously it's not like कि आप अलग इंग्लिश यूज़ करते हो वो भी सही है और मैं अलग इंग्लिश यूज़ करती हूँ वो भी सही है. It's not like that. There is a common pattern. There are set rules and structure, and everybody is supposed to follow the same. Acquired skill सीखा जा सकता है, language सीखी जा सकती है. Okay. Next we'll come to language principles, rules जिन पे language based है. When I say language is learned, I mean that learning of language is not an automatic process, okay? And no doubt it's a behavior, but that behavior is acquired by putting in a lot of efforts, okay? So if we take the case of a small child who is just born, we come to know that he does not know any language. He lives in a family where members interact with each other, and the young infant observes. So he gets the opportunity to imitate. With the passage of time, he is able to produce meaningful sounds, and that's how the individual develops the ability to imitate and practice correct form of language. So this is the meaning of language is learned. Next we have language as a system. Obviously as shared here also that it is a system of phonetics, it is a system of system. So language is a system, and no language can exist in the absence of proper system. Each language has its own unique system, like sounds, vocabulary, words and their meaning, structure, pronunciation, etc. So it is a system. Now language is a system of system. What does this mean? It means that like our human body is very complex system, right? And there is a system of bones, blood circulation, respiration, etc., right? And the human body works properly only if the different systems work properly. Likewise, language can be used meaningfully only when we are able to understand, surrender to its system of sounds, vocabulary, and structure. Okay, and that's how we have to follow the various systems and subsystems of language, because it is system of systems, everybody. Okay, language is a system of symbols. Absolutely, I think again we've talked about it. Different words used in language are the symbols. They stand for certain things. Okay, if I say this is a table, so for you here I mean that it's a table, right? But maybe my 3-year-old nephew may understand the table on which we put things, right? So again, different contexts are there. It's a system of symbols. Symbols of language are arbitrary, all right, and through arbitrary symbols we mean that there is no visual representation between the language item and the object for which it stands. A man is called man in traditional manner, right? No visual similarity is seen between the symbol man and the actual man. This is not named on the basis of some logical or scientific principles. I hope you're able to understand, everybody. It's arbitrary. There is barely any connection many times in it. After this, symbols of language are vocal. That's right too. And it means that in different languages, different words are used to denote the same object. The word fan in English stands for pankha in Hindi, है ना? And I'm sure it means something else in other languages. In India only. So symbol of languages are vocal. These exclude gesture, signals, flags, etc. There is no language which does not exist in spoken form. So language and its symbols are primarily meant for speaking, and writing of the symbols is considered to be the secondary importance. Now we have language as a skill subject. Absolutely. I think we've talked about it already, about acquiring the language. So learning of a language depends upon your proper formation of habit. The ability to use language can be developed only after getting a lot of practice. The more you practice, the better you get at it. And language is ever changing. Absolutely, nothing is static in the world. Language also is not static. It gets influenced, it gets polished, it gets it grows as the time grows. So this was all about language, importance of it, functions, assumptions, and characteristics and principles. Thank you for joining me today as we explored the fascinating world of language. I hope you found this video informative, everybody, and engaging. Remember, language learning is a journey, and the right approach and dedication and practice, with these you can achieve fluency in no time. So stay curious, keep learning, and embrace the power of language. Until next time, bye-bye.